Yeah, all the way probably.
Right there.
All the way probably. Yeah, that's going to let in enough light, yeah. All right, welcome to our live. You can see we switched sides. Probably not the same stream that you watched before. It cut us off halfway through and we didn't notice it because the light kept tracking as if it's going. So thanks, Sandy, for jumping on. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for jumping on.
Hi, Finley.
Good to see you. Love you. Love you guys. So we're really excited to share with the world our CozyNest travel adventures and what we've learned, lesson learned. We had to switch from the lobby up to our room, so you will get bonus content on this one. You'll get to see our shower where we mentioned. But really, why are we traveling? Well, Michelle and I decided as we've developed and grown as a couple and as individuals, we wanted to spend a little bit of time reconnecting. And we've been married 29 years, as you'll see on some of our other videos. We have 4 amazing children that are off living incredible lives, and we're really excited for them. As our youngest left to Germany, and shout out to our Germany friends that we've met on our trip. It's good to welcome. And, we decided we needed to go see, do, be. And really, we've kind of done it in that order, right? So we've gone, we're out, and then we're being and we're seeing and we're trying to be being, if that makes sense, being with the people in the environment.
Yeah. Just enjoying the now in this, not worrying about everything else that's ahead of us or that's in the past, but just now.
Yeah. And people say, why now? And part of it is I couldn't find a traditional job. I've got a great client and get along. Thanks, Jake, for your support. And I'm able to do that and to help out at night. Got some opportunities that are coming up this summer, so we figured right now would be the best time to go, and really excited about the future, and thought, what better time to get away from the snow in Utah and hide out from our little cozy nest that we have that started the channel. And so we're hiding out from the snow this winter. We'll probably be in it all next winter, so kind of excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, soaking up the heat as much as I can before I have to deal with the snow.
Yeah, and why do we call it a cozy nest? Well, we went from that bigger house in Pleasant Grove to this small little cabin, and now into these small little Airbnbs and hotel rooms, and we'll talk more about that as it comes up.
And the other meaning of our cozy nest is we went from our big nest with all of our kids, and we started with our little cozy nest when we first got married, and then our nest got bigger and bigger, and now we're back to our smaller nest.
Yeah.
So it's nice and cozy again.
Yeah, good observation. Thank you, Michelle. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to just kind of go through a little brief description of who we are, what our CozyNest long-term stay looks like, how we're doing, what it's like to live with the locals, how we're adjusting, some tips on about extended travel, how to stay budget friendly, any challenges or any surprises we've seen. If there's any questions, we'll share those with you, and then just kind of go from there, call to action and some Q&A. So right now, that brief introduction is who we are. Why extended travel? Well, I'm cheap, right? And so part of a travel is that initial getting here. A ticket to Taiwan out from the U.S. is about $1,800 a person. Can vary from $1,700 if you're really lucky, up to about $2,200 depending on when you fly over per person. So that right there is $3,600 of a trip tied up. We were fortunate we had some airline points and we're able to book some of that, but we only booked a one-way originally just so we could get on the calendar and it wouldn't stop us from doing it, so we'd get it on the books. And so once I get over here, I'm like, well, if we're over here, we might as well explore a lot because then it becomes cheaper per night for travel. And it does. And we'll show you those numbers. We're really excited what we've been able to do.
We've done quite a bit.
And the other advantage to me to an extended travel is that it's just that. It's extended travel. It allows us not just to go in and jump in and see everything with an itinerary.
Which has been tricky at the same time because we've never done extended travel. It's always been structured travel and know exactly, we planned ahead of what we were going to do. And now it's like, oh, what are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do tomorrow? And so that part's been a little tricky, but fun.
And to reel back and realize we don't have to do something tomorrow. We can stay at home and edit video. We can spend the time going and just being with the people and just doing our laundry and taking care of stuff that needs to be taken care of.
Which is a big mind shift,
Huge.
really, because it's like, oh, I don't have to have a structured schedule and do everything. Because at home, I don't. I mean, you have your set things that you do at home, but it's not like you have. I personally don't feel like I have to leave the house every single day to go and do something, or I missed out.
Which I do. I have to go somewhere. Even at home, I have to be like, oh, I went out and did this project. My dad, you wired me that way. A little bit of have to just do something. And not that you don't do anything at home.
Well, I do stuff at home, yeah, but I don't.
Different.
I don't feel like I have to leave the house.
But here you're like, oh, I'm paying for a hotel room. If I don't see it, I might never come back. And so there's still that FOMO that's happening, but it's how to deal with that. And so it's forcing us to grow.
Yeah.
So that's why extended travel is so exciting and such a fun opportunity for us at this point in time. So what makes this unique? Well, we're really trying to challenge you to go out and do your next adventure and challenge us to do our next adventure. So this makes it unique in the sense that most people we meet are here for a week or 2 weeks. We're fortunate early in our trip to run into a couple who has taken a sabbatical, and they were gone for 5 months doing this big adventure as well. Yeah. And it was fun to visit with them and what they've got going on and how they're doing their big adventure. And, that was fun as far as an opportunity for us to see what they're doing. But most people are here 2 or 3 weeks, and it's been eye-opening. Mm-hmm. How Americans view travel versus Europeans view travel and Asians view travel, and it's been kind of unique and eye-opening.
Yeah, and how many Americans have we met?
As far as a percentage, it's probably less than 10%.
Maybe, yeah,
less than
less,
10%.
Yeah. Out of the 2 months that we've been gone, we've met what, 2?
Yeah, that are traveling. We've met some that have been working and stuff, and then we've met
just travelers.
To your point, we've met a lot of Europeans. Obviously, Europe has a lot more countries, So, but anyways, but we're bumping into very few Americans.
And the big question is, are you retired?
Yeah.
No, we're not.
We get that from people at home too.
So that makes us unique as well, because most people would not be doing a 4-month trip at our age, not retired.
Right. So yeah, we are not retired. I'm tired every day, and I'm retired. All right.
So first impressions.
Yeah. So for me, I'd been to Taiwan. So what's your thoughts when you first got to Taiwan?
I was excited to go to Taiwan because it was a little familiar because I was there before. 19, 20 years ago we went. And so that was nice. It wasn't as scary as going to a foreign country for the first time. I was just excited to go and do and see everything again and have the yummy food.
That's fair.
That part was great.
It was really interesting to me because it actually had changed so much. Taiwan was not the Taiwan that I remember as a kid, if that makes sense to everybody. It totally changed it's grown up. Yeah. It's changed from the little Taiwan that I knew to the Taiwan that it is today, which is big, busy, fun. Real quick shout out. Hey guys, we're live. We're live on Facebook. We relaunched, so if you want to join us, jump in. Shout out. All right. So Taiwan had totally changed. So first impression there was just it grew up. And then for me, coming to Thailand was a big jump because I'd never been to Thailand, and we heard all these scary things about Bangkok and all this. And Dave Jones, shout out. Thank you for your travel tips. So Delane, you did great at hooking us up with your brother, and really appreciated visiting with him and getting some ideas. It really made the transition easier. We've shared those on the videos. So watch them. There's other people have done real deep depth dives on how to use their transportation from the Bangkok airport, really jumping into it. And I've really just loved it. So the biggest surprise for me is that just how friendly the Thai people are, and just how really accommodating people are to travel. So I'm like, this is awesome. People are just super nice about it.
Everybody's willing to help in however they can. Even if they don't know, they find somebody who does to help you.
Yeah, we notice that too. They might not always send you the best directions, just like the Taiwanese people. But hey, at least they're trying to be nice. And a couple of things that Michelle mentioned is that Google Translate.
Oh yeah, Google Translate's been amazing. I've actually used it a couple times to communicate with the lady at our last place to make sure she understood me correctly. Because she's like, well, yeah, I understand. But I'm like, no, you don't. So here you go. So yeah, that's been great to have.
Yeah, and once again, hook up through an eSIM if you need to. It's super cheap relative to using your local home phone carrier. It's probably the easiest way to do it. So yeah, that's what we did, and it worked out well. But anyways, first, sorry, got off on a tangent there. As far as where we're travel style, so in the past, we booked Airbnbs for a week or two, and kind of doubled down on an area, or went to a hotel. We've done cruises. We've done, all inclusive, I think. Mm-hmm. But so we've done that kind of travel. So the really difference here is that we've really focused on the budget. Where can I go to get the best price on my accommodations? The hotel room we're sitting in right now is $160 for the week, not a night, a week. And so, that was something that we looked around for. Airbnb we did last week because we needed a week where we just kind of decompressed. And we had been on an island that was, I think it was like
beautiful.
It was amazing.
But the 4 days we were done with the island with the bugs and
it was nothing. Like camping.
Yeah. Glamping a little bit.
Glamping. Yeah, glamping a little bit, but for me the heat was one of the bigger factors.
It's very hot, and the bugs.
Yeah. It was big for you. Yeah. Because they were there all night, whether you were or weren't. Anyways, so really for us it's been different because we're looking for the deal a little bit, and still the biggest thing for us is safety, those kind of things. So yeah, it's been fun. The next one we have is to live like locals. Compare style. Yeah, so Airbnbs, we did like them. They're very helpful. Realize that when you go do those, sometimes the check-in process is a little bit different. You're dealing with different people, and that's all we did really in Taiwan, and they all were awesome.
It's all great check-in.
The most expensive hotel we stayed in was in Taiwan. It was a one night. The gal show, go watch that video if you're curious on what happened there. But
one thing you have to remember though is you're looking for the budget and the rooms. Remember, it's a little tricky trying to do your daily, like editing videos. Most of the time we're sitting on the bed with our computer in our lap because there's not a lot of space. It's not like you have a big table to sit at all the time or a desk or something. So you have to compromise those things as well.
Yeah, or decide what you're willing to compromise, right? Take into balance and really if we're busier client wise, we'd probably have to go somewhere different. I missed a call, 2 calls because we're on the island and we didn't know that they would shut off the internet. Basically 9:30 they shut off the internet, and at 7:30 it turned back on, and the statement we got from the lady was it's better than nothing.
That's right.
And it truly was probably not better than nothing, but you just never knew. So at least we were able to get texts in and out. But yeah, it was very good observation. Thank you. So really the next thing we talked about was adjusting culture and local experiences. We've really embraced the food. Mm-hmm. Thai food is great. We don't really do their breakfast. It's just a little bit different.
It's like leftovers from the night before, and eating dinner for breakfast is a little hard for me. It's a little too much.
Now that being said, there's a lot of places that are serving an American style breakfast, and whatnot, but we're just as comfortable with the yogurt, banana, maybe a couple slices of bread here at home. just a little bit more our style, and quite easy. Now in Taiwan, they make my favorite breakfast, so I think we only had breakfast home maybe once or twice.
Yeah,
And
in Taiwan we had lots of fun breakfasts.
And since we're staying at hotels, if the breakfast isn't included, we tend to go out and do that. If we are at someplace they're included, obviously we eat their breakfast. But so
with that though, a lot of times we do eat out besides breakfast because it's cheaper to just go and buy the meal already prepared versus going to buy all the ingredients to make food. And like in this room, we couldn't make anything.
Sandwiches.
We can make sandwiches, which we have done.
And the other thing is that it's wild to me, but you can. A lot of places have just a little kettle, and you pour your bottle of water in there, you boil it up, and you can make a cup of soup. And not that I would recommend that as a constant diet, but if like tomorrow being Sunday, and we're not really we're trying to still observe some of that Sabbath day, trying to keep a holy kind of a concept. We will cook our noodles here at the house, eat those with some bread and some chips and some yogurt that we buy tonight and fresh fruit. It's still very doable, not sustainable, but yeah, it's super easy, super, so you see those little kettles, and go ahead and boil water in it, make your cup of soup. And then the other thing,
it makes it safe.
No, you use clean water. Okay. That's why I keep saying bottle of water.
Yes, bottled water.
Because it doesn't make it safe. It doesn't boil long enough to make it safe. So don't listen to Michelle on that. She is a food expert, but not on that one. So we took, and so you take your, anyways, I don't know where I'm off on a tangent. So locals, they eat at McDonald's, or they eat at 7-Elevens, which is kind of interesting. So every time we go into a new area, it's a new experience, right? So we were in Taiwan. We went to a couple areas that I knew, a couple places I didn't. But because it's just the two of us, because we're slow travelers, we get to be with the people and really visit with them and understand their culture and what they're doing. So as we move into a place, it actually has to become and feel like home a little bit. Local foods, obviously shopping, like you mentioned, was a little bit hard. Languages, we used
Google Translate. It's been amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's something that you can speak into and it'll translate.
And most of them here speak English, or broken English, but at least a lot of them understand, because they know a lot of the travelers, that's what they speak. So they had to learn English, because we're all stubborn and don't learn Thai
or we can't,
or Chinese, so but the Google Translate has been helpful to get the message across.
Which is it helps in those emergency situations. I don't know if you shared that you had to use it when I got sick, so don't remember if that was this video or last video.
When I talked to the lady at our last place, I used Google Translate to let her know why we were late with the scooter.
Yep. Yeah, so really, just trying to embrace the locals, and they're really nice here in Thailand. They were nice in Taiwan, obviously extremely helpful. You'll see that in our videos. People always want to talk. Might not always give us the right directions, but they always want to talk and visit. Yeah. And really we've explored some unique activities. We were hanging with the elephants. Mm-hmm. Obviously I went diving. I love it. But you can do that worldwide. Elephants was kind of unique. We did the wildest river rafting trip yesterday, Dad. Looking forward to seeing those videos. But if you see them, they actually jump out of the boat and they're lifting the boat and turning it and then putting you down a rapid. And you're just
down all these big boulders,
hitting rocks. So weird. But,
we made it. We're alive.
And just enjoying it like the locals would. And they said, come back in rainy season. It's class 5. And I'm like, this is like class 15 because there's total shoots.
It's
and
crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. But, it definitely worth doing. So shopping, like Michelle mentioned, it can be expensive at a grocery store to buy your traditional foods. So even when we were at that Airbnb last week, this hotel's like 160. The Airbnb last week was 300. We ate every breakfast in there, but still eating there for dinner wasn't really an option because you'd have to go buy too much different spices and oils. And, before you know it, your meal prep is like buying something from home where you have to have a cupboard full of stuff.
But on the other side, shopping, you don't have to pack a lot, because you can buy anything here.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. So what are some of the things we bought here that we
I
normally
bought
would travel with?
Well, I bought another swimming suit.
Yeah.
And bought another pair of pants that were thin to go into the temple. Had to get my elephant pants.
Yeah, we bought some shorts.
And some shorts.
Both of us did, and then
But sunscreen.
Yeah,
was one that we bought here.
Because we ran out, we used up what we had, and we needed some more. At first, we thought it was fake because
we still got burnt.
But it was just so hot, and the shade was not great. So, anyways, so sunscreen you can buy.
You can really find anything.
Deodorants here.
Razors, toothbrushes.
I bought a toothbrush here. It's not because I keep throwing mine on the floor. Michelle's had to boil her toothbrush twice because she just throws it on the floor. She thinks it's fun. But yeah, mine got some weird gross stuff on it, so I just threw it away and bought one here. There's toothpaste. There's everything you can want. You just have to be willing to go, it's close enough, it's good enough. And some of the stuff's probably better because it's not so regulated. I don't know. FDA, that's a whole different tantrum. But so it's great. So
with that, our packing, how did you like packing for this trip?
Yeah, it was stressful. Because we were in Taiwan for the first month and a half. Mm-hmm. We knew it was going to be cold. Everybody said it was really cold, and so we packed for really cold. And coming from where Utah was, I don't know what they would say, is really, really, really cold. In the cold, we were like, we could have got away with a little bit less clothes, than what we brought. Still glad I had my puffer jacket, which we were not throwing away. But now I have a puffer jacket, I have a sweater, I have a long sleeve shirt that, so I've got some stuff that I don't normally need. I'm just trying to separation anxiety of getting rid of it.
Well, it's hard because we had all that, and then we had to pack our summer clothes too for the rest of our trip.
It's true.
So it was getting all of that into a carry-on.
Yeah.
And knowing how much do I pack of this or that. But compression bags have been amazing. They're a little tricky to get situated in the suitcase, but they're great at compacting your clothes.
Yeah, they actually have an extra zipper that you can squish it down and then re-zip, and then it makes it tighter, which is helpful, but it doesn't accommodate if you pack too much clothes. The other advantage is that when I get to a place, I can take, here's all my shirts, here's my clothes that I'm probably not going to wear, and set them someplace, already pre-squished in a bag, so that because our suitcases, we don't have drawers and all that in these hotels. So you just kind of open up your suitcase and then you've got your different compression sacks. Yeah. That's why I like those more than even just getting stuff squished together.
Yeah.
What did we, compression bags are awesome. I can't think of anything. I brought some extra shoes that I threw away. So I found out I didn't need some of these shoes.
One thing I might have changed was my water bottle. Because we have our big water bottles that are nice and durable and metal, but they're heavy. Even empty, they're a little bit heavier than another kind of bottle would be. And when you're going off of weight, because it tends to be a little heavy.
That's fair. I would have still kept a metal water bottle only because I like my water cold, and it's when I pour it out of the fridge, at least it comes cold and I get some cold. Every time we see ice, I'm filling it up. Michelle chuckles, but I do like ice in my water. And so I probably wouldn't have changed my water bottle, but thinking of what I probably would have packed that I didn't, I don't think so. I think I overpacked. Really, at the end of the day, you need a passport, you need some way to communicate, and you need your loved one. And I had those. So I'm probably okay, but I can't. Yeah. So really, we can give you a whole list of our packing, what we packed, what we didn't, but realize that most things you can buy. If you forget it, you can buy it. The stuff that took up more space than I anticipated are the computers, the cameras.
Yeah, that does take up.
And, some of that equipment that surprised me of how much, the extra attachments and, those kind of things take.
Yeah.
But still need it, so I'm glad we brought it. One of the things that people ask is, how do we stay in our routine? Well, it's hard. It's been a little bit easier because we're together. So we're able to spend time doing our daily studies and our prayers and stuff because we're together all the time. good and bad. No, I'm just
Well, it's a
kidding.
new routine. It's not, we can't do our regular one that we did at home because the situation's different. So we had to come up with our new routine of how we were going to do things here.
And part of it for me was to realize that I didn't need to be out seeing something every day. You know, like even today I'm sitting here going, oh, we're on YouTube Live. Oh, I got this FOMO. What am I missing out on doing here? You know, and so what one of my questions is to you is what did you do today on your Friday, or what do you have to do on your Saturday? Would be fun to hear if you guys want to throw that in the chat. But for us, it's interesting because I still know I need to do some of my work stuff. I need to make sure that I do this, and so having a calendar of knowing what days my meetings are and what I needed to deliver still helps me to stay organized. And then I look and say, okay, like yesterday we went river rafting. Okay, I'm going to be gone most of the day, so I need to do this stuff the night before or get up early the next day, and I just need to make that decision.
And the other thing of trying to stay productive is making sure you remember what day is what in the meetings and times because of the time change. Like it's Saturday morning for us, but Friday night for most of you. And so it's tricky. It's like, and what time is it and how? Yeah. Making sure that you have all of that correct.
Yeah. Well, and then I think part of it is keeping our room organized. You know, we've really spent with those compression sacks. Our first stay, I felt like I was blown up and I was everywhere and I could never find anything, which is not unusual. I tend to not be able to find my wallet, but now I'm always finding my wallet. I know where my cell phone is, and then I know where the rest of my stuff is because we're in such a compact space. You can't just blow up. You have to be very organized. And part of that is leaving the stuff you don't need at home. So yeah, so the way we budgeted, so this was an interesting dilemma for us. At first, we're like, hey, we're going to go as cheap as possible, and we really want to prove that you can go do an experience for X amount. So we stayed in Taiwan for a month. It cost us $2,400. That's all in hotels, food, miscellaneous. Everything we spent was less than $2,400. It was like $2,380. But then we stepped back and said, wait, we might never be here again. What are some of the things we want to do that if we never got a chance to come back, would we do? Yeah. And so that's why we went and saw the elephants. We went and river raft and we rented some scooters and we toured around and done some of those things. But most of them haven't been extremely expensive, even compared to the state prices, right? So our river rafting normally would have been $80 to $110 a person, was $150 for both of us, you know. And so some of those experiences are still cheaper because we're here. I'm going to share with you our budget. Go ahead, Michelle, if you had something to say while I'm pulling that up.
No, the only thing that comes to my mind is that sure that you plan your specific budget, because a budget to us could be different for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like on how much you want to spend. So just make sure you're on that. You know how much you want to spend, and then you can continue from there.
Yeah, I was laughing with one of my cousins. He told me what he spent on a vacation. I'm like, oh, I'm planning on spending less than that for the whole 5 months I'm out, you know, so versus 1 week, you know. So it all just depends on what you want and what you need. So what we've done here is we build a little tracker, and every day we come back home and we put in what we spent on everything, right? So this first one is an eSIM. We called it miscellaneous. It was $29. That's good for a month. It gave us all the data we needed. I put in the lodging. If it doesn't have something in this column, just means that I converted it already to USD, meaning it already started in USD. And then you can see down here where we changed over and we kind of went from Taiwan to so new Taiwanese dollars to Thai bahts. It's got a different currency exchange, and it tells you the prices we paid for everything. So then I created this pivot table, and on the pivot table, it shows us total what we spent on stuff. This is for the 2 months that we've been out. We've been out exactly 2 months. Our grand total on activities is $1,100. So this is the point Michelle says, look, you could go cheaper and do less activities, or you could go crazier, do more activities. You know, you can spend more on this lodging as well. Lodging, you could have spent a lot more or a lot less, but we've only spent for the whole time we've been out for everything is $2,500. So that means $1,200 a month, roughly $1,300 a month on places. meaning that our total spend to live someplace is what our mortgage is on our cabin. It's kind of wild to think about that, that we're able to go to all these different places, and that includes water, utilities, all that. Anyways, meals, we're running right around $1,000 a month or total, so $500 a month. And the meal will vary on price, and you'll see those in the videos that we're posting of what we're spending per meal. Normally pretty cheap. Any other thoughts? Miscellaneous, Michelle. What's miscellaneous mean?
Miscellaneous is more of like our sunblock or shorts. Is that what we put under miscellaneous? Just those random things that we need to buy. That so basically anything that's not an activity, lodging, transportation, or food, all goes there.
Yeah. The one that surprised me is how much we spend on it is transportation. You know, we've done planes, trains, automobiles, and ferries or boats. Yeah. And it's amazing how cheap it is to fly country to country, but then inside a country, how expensive it is to get from point A to point B. And it's relative, right? We don't have any gas. We don't have a car payment. So it's all in this number. But really, to get to the airport, how much is it? To get to this place, how much is it? You know, every time you change hotels, it costs. And so that's something to be aware of. If we were truly budget conscious and only wanted to, or budget conscious, but if we're really trying to be cheap travelers, we would have just picked an area and stayed there for a month.
Yeah.
But instead, in Taiwan, we spent probably $650 of that just in travel, train tickets, you know, going from one place to another.
But when you look at that, we moved a lot.
I agree.
And so it was definitely well worth it to see everything. But yeah, you just keep in mind how much do you really want to spend on transportation, and then go from there on how far out you're going to travel.
Yeah.
In your destination.
Well, and that goes for the lodging as well, right? Mm-hmm. You can pick a $150 room. We try and keep our budget to about $250 a week. And some weeks we really win, like this one, and we'll show you this in a second. And some weeks we not lose, we just choose to stay a little bit different. Like the one we stayed, that was $300. So when you're thinking of your budget, you get to decide what you want to spend on what kind of vacation you want. But realize they're out there where you can go real cheap. We have a kid that we met the other day that's staying in hostels, and he's spending $5 a night. Mm-hmm. Was it €5 a night? But he shares a dormitory. They all sleep together. There's a shared bathroom.
He has a locker to put his stuff in.
Yeah, stuff that wouldn't work for Michelle and I.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
You know, because we want to do different stuff, you know, so we're not as worried about it. But
I think there is hostels that have your individual room as well. They could be a little bit more. But I've heard that they're about the same price as the hotels.
When we visited with people, they're saying, you only paid that for your Airbnb? Mm-hmm. Oh, I paid a little bit more than that for my hostel. So once again, user's choice, right? And the other thing we did that we think is kind of fun is we keep track of what we did every day. And this is really more for us to just see what we did, you know, and see, you know, what we participated in, you know, and what kind of events we did and what we enjoyed.
Well, so, like they say, if you don't write it down, you forget.
Sure.
And so, like, even there's some days we're like, oh, we haven't written that down for a few days. We have to stop and think for a minute, going, what did we do? I don't remember. So it's important to write those things down so we can look back and go, oh, yeah, we did do that. Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So travel challenges. That was our next one, is travel challenges. What challenges have we had?
One of the big ones was dealing with our bank. We made sure to reach out to them and let them know where we were traveling and the destinations and for how long. And when we got here, we weren't able to get online. So that was a little frustrating, and some of our cards weren't working, even though we told them.
The one still isn't working.
Yeah. So there's still that little hiccup, but we're surviving. Yeah. Doing it the other way. So the things that we've learned was to ask more questions before we leave, and to find a bank that's more international, that you don't have issues like that.
Yeah, and it's okay to read forums and ask those questions in travel forums. Hey, has anybody used X at Chase? Has anybody used this bank? And And yeah, so it's forced Michelle and I, we're going to go find a different bank that's more international and transactional, because we can still get into Fidelity, but we can't get into America First. So, and we've called them multiple times, and twice they said, "Oh yeah, it should be working," and it still doesn't. So it's very frustrating. And then once they said, "Oh yeah, we're locking that country down intentionally," and I'm like, "But you can't do that to every country." At some point in time, you've got to say the security is our problem, not your problem. But anyways,
yeah. So banks.
So that surprised us.
The other hiccup?
Just Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year was very busy on trains, and we had that train fiasco, and it worked out well. Just like obstacles at home, you're going to have a car breakdown, you're going to have a kid not behave, you're going to have those other obstacles at home. And as a couple, it allows us to continue to grow and develop and say, how do we solve them?
And another hiccup was you got sick as we tried to drive on the scooter. That was exciting.
It was more
You
than
didn't
a hiccup.
try,
It was
you
a
did.
full. It wasn't a hiccup. It was a full launch of.
But it was scary because, I've never driven a scooter, so I didn't feel safe enough to drive it myself with you on the back.
Won't even say I won't drive a scooter. I wouldn't drive home.
I wouldn't.
There you go.
Because I was like, there's no way I'm going to dump us.
But instead, I drove a little ways and then stopped, and drove a little ways and stopped. So, yeah, and and so part of that is to realize that with an extended travel like we're on, take some time to get better, lay around, relax that day, drink a lot of electrolytes and yogurts or whatever is going to help you start to feel better, and just chill, right? And it was a good place to get sick because the environment. Had that been in the jungle, I was a little sick when we were in the jungle, and I think it just never had got better because it was so hot and so exhausting. I just think that my body finally hit that point where it said, you need to stop. And so we stopped, and feeling great now. So yeah, so there's those sick things that can come up too. And then some of the fun things that just being together is Michelle goes, Roscoe, what are they saying? I'm like, babe, we're in Thailand. You got it. In Taiwan, she'd always say, what's going on? I'm like, she's talking to you in English. Listen, but Michelle would zone out. Michelle would zone out or not ask follow-up questions. So Thailand's been very good for Michelle in the sense that she has to go and interact, and she has to listen, and she has to wait, and has to, because it is different. The language barrier, even though they're speaking English, can still be a barrier. Yeah. And so just be patient with them, be patient with yourself. Just realize it's part of the game. Yeah, I call it a game. It's part of the adventure. It's part of the fun. Just embrace it for what it is. And so, one of the things that I didn't expect was finally hitting a place where I could actually just be instead of FOMO and having to run and have to go. And it's still something I struggle with this morning. We're sitting here doing this versus me being out looking at stuff, whatever stuff there is to look at, so some of that. Another obstacle going back to, or we're talking about fun things we discovered, is just that there's so many people in the world and most of them are nice. But some of the times you have to pull the easy button, and that's what we're doing on our next trip in Vietnam, because we just didn't have the time. We didn't take the time to plan, and I didn't want to plan all day and miss out on the next vacation, so part of that is knowing when. So that'd be the fun unexpected, is there are lots of travel companies. There's a lot of people out there to help you. We're here to help you. Lean on us. We've been here to Asia. We now have some other trips for other parts and other ways to find resources and tools. And the other fun thing is meeting new people from other countries.
Yeah, we've met a ton of wonderful people.
Super nice, want to share their experience, want to share what they're doing, and just have nice conversations with them on tours or, just out on the street. We talked to a lady last night for about 30 minutes just on the side of the road that we've only met. I saw her briefly in the hotel, said hi to her and asked her what she was up to. And Michelle
did a cooking class with her.
Yeah. And then, we just bonded over life, and it's fun. So really, we appreciate the interactions and the questions we're getting on Instagram and Facebook. Keep them coming. We'll keep answering them the best we know how, and we're excited to have you as part of our community. So please just keep coming, keep bringing them, keep showing up. We'll do our best. to explain. Let us know what you'd like to see different in videos. And this will be a fun opportunity to continue to grow this relationship in our development. So the bonus, right? So we're going to show you this room. So right here, what you can see behind you is our bathroom. This is the one that threw Gideon off, surprised him the most, was the way their restrooms are set up. So really, there's your toilet, which you would expect, but then there's your shower. No real divider. This is the front door, and we do have a little balcony. It's going to be sun blinding you for a second. I apologize about that. It's just a little balcony with a little table, the chairs we brought in here to sit on, so we didn't blind you. So that's how small the room is. But the hotel, we did a little bit more review on a video that will be coming out. That's really kind of a fun place to be. As you can see, we've got our stuff organized down there. That's Michelle. Wow. I'm here behind us. And that just helps us keep it a little bit more organized in the room the best we can. I've got my Sunday shirt hanging up. Hopefully it unwrinkles. It's been a process since we haven't been close enough to church in a while. So we're going tomorrow, which we're kind of excited about. So really our next plans, just so everybody's on the same page of us, we're leaving here on Tuesday and we're going to Vietnam. We're going to be in Vietnam for 15 days. And then where?
Then to Cambodia.
Yeah, Cambodia for 5. Really was excited to go see Siem Reap, Angkor Wat, which is considered the 8th wonder of the world. So we booked Cambodia. And then after Cambodia, we're off to
Malaysia.
Yeah, so Malaysia's booked and ready to go. And then from Malaysia, we're back to Taiwan. So that's kind of our big trip. We might sneak in Singapore, trying to decide if it's worth the budgeting to do it and if we can get on. Because really part of it is to go see the couple cool things in Singapore. Maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see.
Haven't decided. So really my ask and my hope for you guys is find that adventure, whatever it is. If it's floating the river in Cuna, Sandy, go for it. We'll be back. You'll need to take us down it in the spring so we can compare it. Just go out and adventure. And really that's the call to action to everybody. Whatever your adventure is, if it's as simple as getting up and going to Dairy Queen, Grandma Jackie, go do your adventure. Mom, Dad, if it's going down to Kanab, getting your RV, going to a different place, just go. It's scary. It's hard. It's all these things come up. And honestly, I would have backed out January 13th if I felt like there was an out. Because it's so more comfortable for me to be at the cabin and work through those problems and dealing with all that. It's just a lot more comfortable.
And then we would have backed out again in the end of January because of stresses. And then again, at the beginning of February.
Really? You're going to back out in February?
Well, just, you just never know with life and how things are going.
Well, that's fair because we had that scare. We thought we were going to have to go home with your mom.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And because we're so cheap and we bought these, we have our ticket already booked to go home. We're like, we're staying, so we keep double down on this stay. And really it's been good for us. I'm finally in that good headspace today. It might be because we're halfway. That's a woohoo, but yet it's sad at the same time.
It's crazy.
Because it is going very fast and we're having a lot of fun. So really go find your adventure and then make sure to link, subscribe, and hit us up. Hit us up. We want to know what you're doing. We want to know what your adventure is, big or small. And the biggest thing to remember is
you got this.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.